What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point. Talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. Because today we have a good one. Today, officially, the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, started to be extremely afraid of kids. Basically, what happened, this teenager, 15-year-old Arsenij, he was prosecuted by not just a regular court, but by a military court and sentenced to 5 years of hard labor. And all he did was putting these like pieces of paper, booklets, whatever like this, about the freedom of Russia legion into the post boxes of his neighbors. That's it. Simple as that. These booklets, they were saying like Putin is lying to you, Putin is leading us nowhere, war in Ukraine leads to nowhere, like war in Ukraine is meaningless, something like this. Nothing extraordinary, nothing extremistic, nothing. Well, yet 15-year-old guy will be working hard for 5 next years. Putin is afraid of kids, basically. And whenever this level of clownship is happening in Russia, Ukrainians continue to advance their political game next level, because recently, according to President of Ukraine Vladimir Zelensky, they started the talks about the accession of Ukraine into the European Union, so now it is official, now it is happening, now it is only just a matter of time. And just as a reminder, no, Ukraine's participation, Ukraine's membership in the European Union was never on the table for Russia as the reason why they had to start this special military operation. So to be honest, I do not think the Russian authorities will prohibit Ukraine to do this or will do anything about this. But, well, you never know. Putin is extremely unpredictable, so let's see. And speaking about another mighty alliance, obviously NATO. Recently they also replaced their Secretary General, so now instead of Jens Stoltenberg, the next Secretary General of NATO will be the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte. And he will take this responsibility approximately in October of this year. There will also be one extremely interesting news from NATO, which we will talk about in the end of this video, so guys, please keep watching. But for now, let me give you a very brief update from southern and eastern front lines, and Ukrainian flags started to appear on the territory of Russia in the city of Belgorod. First of all, right here is the picture from Crimean Peninsula, specifically from Cape Chauda, where according to local residents, this was the place where Russians were launching their Shahed drones against southern parts of Ukraine. Obviously, this was not the only place where they did it, this was just one of them. The propaganda of Russia, they declined that this was just once again a spontaneous fire, completely unrelated to Ukrainian drones. Yet, however, local residents reported some loud noises. Next is the picture from Donetsk region, where we can see one of Russian air defense systems called Panzer being destroyed. And next is the picture from the current condition of Chasiv Yar, which is basically the evidence of this Z world that Russians are bringing with them, which is nothing even close to what countries which liberate their neighbors. It literally doesn't even look like a liberation, but well, what do I know? The patriots still believe that Chasiv Yar is being now liberated. Also from Luhansk region, from the forest next to Kreminna, right here we have a brand new video from Colombian mercenaries who are fighting on the side of Ukrainians inside this so-called international legion. And they are able to push the positions of Russians as well. Guys, video is very interesting, please go ahead and watch it, full and uncensored version as always on my Patreon, the link is down below. Then we have a compilation of Ukrainian FPV drone operators' work, and long story short, they were able to destroy in the last several days alone 4 this Golov cars, 4 cars and 1 military truck, obviously in addition to some infantry. And then along Kharkiv front line, there is this elite unit of drone operators called Griffon, and they were able to target, find and destroy the positions of Russians as well. And also, speaking about Kharkiv front line, here is the video of a Ukrainian tank literally getting as close as possible to the positions of Russians, attacking against infantry positions, trenches, all this kind of stuff, trying to destroy some of their military equipment. Russians obviously try to respond. That is why the tank, the Ukrainian one, it literally suffers a direct hit from Solntsepek. It still continues driving, and then a couple of Russian FPV drones also hit the tank as well. Ukrainian tank was able to withstand all of these attacks, successfully completed mission, turn around and fall back. And then along Kharkiv frontline, we already know about this city called Vovchansk, where according to the Ukrainian soldiers, they continue to hold the Z soldiers under Agregatny Zavod for more than 2 weeks at this point. Approximately last week I've made a video about this specific situation that Russians were literally surrounded on the territory of this factory. Well, once again, it is just a matter of time whenever they surrender, because the food supplies, to say the least, are extremely limited. But probably the most extraordinary news of the last several days, they come to us from Belgorod. First of all, right here you can see a video of a temporarily base of Russians which they were used inside this city, which was fully just absolutely deconstructed by Ukrainians. And yet another very interesting video from Belgorod is this one, where a Ukrainian FPV drone operator is, I'm assuming, collecting intelligence data, reconnaissing the area. And long story short, then he finds this residential building with a Ukrainian flag on top. So this is basically the way of local residents saying that, guys, we support you, we are on your side, we do not want war. Please don't hit us, please don't target us. Godspeed, and hopefully the war will be over soon. And guess what? This is not the only Ukrainian flag in Belgorod region, because here is another video from the small settlement called Bezemenne, where you can see now a Ukrainian flag installed on a radio tower, which basically allows us to assume potentially this was a diversion group by Ukrainians or just local infiltrators who are also fighting maybe on the side of Ukrainians, collect the data again about the Z army, and then they transport them to the Ukrainian intelligence services. So long story short, yes, as you can see, the resistance inside Belgorod is growing, people do not war, and this is quite obvious, but the interesting fact is that between Russian and Ukrainian side, they do choose to be on the side of Ukrainians. But wait, there is more. According to the General Staff of Ukraine, guys, you probably remember, a month ago or so, several weeks ago, Russians were concentrating to the northern borders between Russia and Ukraine, right? Probably we were estimating that the next direction of their attack after Kharkiv will go against Sumy. Well, what happens according to the General Staff of Ukraine? They see that the number of soldiers started to decrease, the Russian offensive and Russian diversion groups, sabotage groups, their attacks, they become more weak. At this point that pretty much nothing is happening right now anymore, which kinda now allows us to assume another thing. Russians saw that Kharkiv offensive was a complete disaster. It did not yield any results. We already know that the main purpose was for this offensive was to distract Ukrainians and allow them and make them bring some reinforcements from the south and the east, making those areas more vulnerable. Well, it did not happen, to say the least, right? Potentially, this offensive against Sumy was supposed to be Kharkiv 2.0, with the very same goal to distract as many Ukrainians as possible. And those Z soldiers and commanders, whenever they saw how miserable this Kharkiv offensive by Russians was, probably they decided to not waste the human resource and to completely just cancel the offensive plans completely. So, long story short, at least at the moment of recording this video, there is the threat of Russians from the northern borders is minimal. And now, as promised, let's talk about this another extraordinary big news from NATO. Specifically, what we're going to talk about is that NATO is considering sending its troops to Ukraine under some conditions. Guys, this is an extra chapter for my Patreon members. This is me saying thank you so much for your support. So if you want to continue watching and also receive this episode in early access, fully uncensored, and hundreds of extra footage, please go ahead and check my Patreon. The link is down below. There is 1 week of free access for every single one of you to try the service to see if you like it or not. Once again, the link is down below. The best way to support the channel. Thank you so much. Well, there you have it, guys. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you did like this style of daily news updates. There is many more videos are coming. Don't forget to check my other useful links down below: PayPal donations, Patreon, Instagram, and of course merch, hoodies, t-shirts, pens, cases. Some new stuff is coming, so be on watch. Okay? Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.